Welcome to the Hotter Than Health podcast, a podcast and resource for those looking to expand and elevate their lives. Each week, we will bring you provocative topics, engaging interviews, and some of the biggest names in health and wellness to answer your burning questions. Each episode, you will leave with tangible tips and takeaways so that you can immediately begin to elevate and optimize your life. Hello. Welcome back to this week's episode of Hotter Than Health. My name is Eliza Gelman. It's great to have you here. I'm happy that you're listening. It is Thursday. We are through the week, getting towards the weekend, and I thought we would do a fun, lighthearted this or that, this versus that episode based on health, wellness, nutrition, and some trends that are going on. And I figured we would take it from food to fitness to supplements, a little skincare, beauty, all those fun topics, because honestly, it's spring. Things are starting to get really beautiful. Wanted to do something lighthearted, and I'm traveling this week. Last week we had a really killer episode, but today it just felt lighter. Maybe it's because I'm in the follicular stage of my cycle that I'm feeling good and I have energy. This is where we're leaning today. And I figured nobody's going to be mad about a positive, uplifting episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out last week's episode. We did an interview about mold. And we talked about environmental toxins. We talked about symptoms. And once that episode came out with the mold expert, Brian Carr, once that episode came out, I was getting messages, voice messages, photos sent into DMs. And one person in particular really emphasized what resonated with her most, being that her and her husband lived in the same house, but were experiencing opposite symptoms, so opposite that they thought there's no way that this has to do with mold. This has no way this is an environmental toxin. Like, these are two siloed, separate experiences. And what do you know? They found a fat, I don't know what area of the house it was in, but a fat area of black mold. Or they said mold, it was black. I don't know if it was considered black mold. But as soon as they moved, all of their symptoms would go away. She said that when they would travel, they would go to the beach, and she would say that her skin cleared up, nothing. And it wasn't breakouts. It wasn't acne. It wasn't something that could be explained away by hormones. It was speckles on her skin, these tiny little spots on her skin. And when she would leave, they would go away. It's just wild how much our environment can really inflame our immune system, and how our immune system, when it gets to be compromised, it can show up in so many different ways within our digestion, within our skin, our mood, our energy. All of this to say, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, make sure you do. It was Brian Carr is a wealth of knowledge, and I learned so much. But let's get into today. I'm very excited for this. I think it'll be fun. Starting in fitness, and then we'll go to food, and then we'll move on to some other trends. But when it comes to the this versus that, obviously nothing is black and white. This is just my preference. Pilates versus strength training. There are days where I wake up and I am, I'm feeling lean that day, or maybe I'm feeling good, or I have a lot of energy, but I'm maybe sore from a workout, or I just want to walk that day. Those are definitely days where I want to do Pilates. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want to feel aligned. I want my core to feel strong, good posture, very feminine. And there's some days where I want to just be a Pilates girl. I want a matching set. I don't want to sweat that bad. And I want to go get a matcha afterwards. There are those days. I would say 85% of the time, though, I'm telling myself, let's go into the gym, let's lift some weights, because I was not born with curves. I am not a woman who is naturally blessed with a lot of, it takes some work to fill out jeans, if you will. And when I think about longevity, I think about muscle gain, I think about metabolism, I think about osteoporosis, I think about aging, I think about my skin being nice and tight against my muscles. I want to do weight training. I always feel more confident. I feel great. It's, I think, also such a bang for your buck. But in a dream world, I could do both. If I could afford to do Pilates all the time, I will say, I do subscribe to Amelia Coggins. She does the Mills method. I do subscribe to her monthly app. Hey, Amelia. And I really like it. So I'm traveling this week for work. So I plan on doing her resistance training workouts within the hotel gym just to check it off my list. I'll probably hit some 36-minute workouts and then a 15-minute incline walk. I think that'll be perfect for traveling this week. So I'm getting that resistance, but also the strength training. If you're someone who only does one or the other, highly recommend mixing it up. There's not going to be anybody who tells you Pilates is bad for you, and there's not going to be telling anyone that strength training is bad for you. If you're asking a Pilates girly versus a strength training girly, hey, what is the overarching most important thing? It is, we need a healthy metabolism. We need length, strength, and bone density. And I think a good combination is great. 8 times out of 10, it's weightlifting for me. Oh, this one's interesting. It's what we would call a hot girl walk versus the 12-3-30 trend. And I know this is an older trend, but I still have friends that were doing this. I was just talking to my friend Chandler the other day about she was doing the 12-3-30 treadmill workout, and the hot girl walk is low impact. You're going on a walk, you put your fanny pack on, you have your headphones on, you're reducing Bluetooth because you're using your wired headphones. Like, it's spring, you're likely listening to a podcast, you're feeling good, maybe you're catching up with a girlfriend, and all of a sudden you look down at your clock and it's been an hour. The 12-3-30 method on a treadmill is great for a rainy day. It's great for if you want to really zone out during your workout. You're like, hey, I have 30 minutes. I have to be efficient. You'll go at a 12 incline, a 3 speed for half an hour. And I personally haven't done it, but I would say if I'm at a 3 speed, I feel like even if I'm going at a 12 incline, I feel like that's going to feel really good. But a 12 incline will get you. That will get you. And if you're leaning forward and you don't have your hands on the treadmill, that is going to take you to glute town. It's going to take you to calf town. You're going to feel sweaty. It'll feel good. I like this. But I think if I'm going to be in the gym and I really need to sweat, I'll do a run or I'll do a walk. That's always fun. But if I need to sweat, I'm getting on the Stairmaster. That's my frequency. Hot girl walks and Stairmaster. The 12-3-30, it's great, but I feel like I also need an odd number after the first decimal point. So if I'm at a 3 on the treadmill, you it's like the volume on your TV or in your car. You want it to be at a 3.1, a 3.3, a 3.5. I like an odd number. There's something about it. It's satisfying. We're moving into food. I'm hungry. I'm actually not hungry at all. I just chugged a little bit of raw milk. I've been doing like a cup a day because the place that I got raw milk from this time, it's a full gallon, and it's a family pack. And I don't know, I leave for New York tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to finish a gallon of milk. So maybe I'll freeze it. Maybe I'll make ice cubes. Matcha versus coffee. Matcha versus coffee, without a doubt, coffee. Without a doubt, coffee. I can't say anything more than that. However, like I said, if you're in the mood for matcha, or if it is, to me personally, if it's past 11 a.m., Even with the half-life of caffeine, people are like, "Oh, but it's you have so much time before bed." Sometimes caffeine just stays with me for long periods of time. 1.5 cups is what I can do in a day. Any more than that, then I'm anxious. My body thinks I'm anxious, but really I'm just overcaffeinated. Love matcha. It's got to be done right. I'm someone that likes a milky matcha. So I like it to be creamy. I like a good thick matcha. One that I have tried from in Charlotte recently, there's a lot of places that do it really right, and during the summer, I drink more matcha. Let me just tell you that. But a place that does it really right, because matcha does have so many benefits, is there's a place near my house called Backyard Brew. And they do such a beautiful ceremonial grade matcha. You get it iced, you get it with whatever milk you want. They do a little bit of, I think I did vanilla, I can't remember. It was some kind of maybe honey. I thought it was delicious, and it was creamy. It was got that nice dense feeling for an iced matcha. Some of the benefits of both. Caffeine, yes, it has a bit of caffeine, and it will give you that pep, that energy. Matcha also has a ton of antioxidants, because if it is a pure matcha, okay, Starbucks, no offense, let's just call it a green drink. Let's just call it a sweet green drink. We don't need to go to Starbucks and try and it's not necessarily a part of your wellness journey. Let's just call it a treat. Call it a treat. Let's name the puppy the matcha at Starbucks. It's just sugar. It's just sugar. But it's beautiful. It's great. It tastes good. But it's sugar. Nice ceremonial grade matcha, which I'm definitely going to be drinking more this spring and summer, has antioxidants. It has a ton of which is great for your skin, great for your overall health. It's also got that l-theanine, which is known as a calming agent. So you would see this l-theanine in a lot of supplements that promote relaxation and stress relief. Matcha has tons of great benefits. Love it. We know this. This is not new information, but I'm still a coffee girl. I just am. I got a new little Breville Bambino. So if you are a single girl living at home, even if you're not single and you really want to treat yourself to a beautiful espresso in the morning with a good froth, it's easy. It is easy. If I can figure it out, anyone can figure it out. But it's so fun to try and figure out the fineness of the grounds. It's fun to figure out how to get the perfect froth. I like the Bambino. It wasn't breaking the bank. It wasn't one of those $800, $900 espresso machines that someday I'll upgrade to, but it's great for the little apartment. Okay, organic versus local produce. This is interesting. I think a lot of times I go back and forth, because organic, yes, organic is going to be my answer. However, I love to support local farms. But when you're shopping local, there's a place that I go to often. I'm not going to say the name because I love it, and this isn't a dig. There is a place in Charlotte that I go and I get a bunch of greens. It's where I get my raw milk. It's got a ton of great healthy foods and random little snacks there, breads. I always ask, oh, is this organic? Is this organic? They said, it's local. And I say, oh, thank you. And this isn't to say that local farms are not organic, but if you're not talking to the farmer and you don't know what's going on, oftentimes you don't know if it's organic. So a lot of local farms, there's costs involved. And if they are just a local farm, maybe they can't afford to fully go organic without, I don't know the processes, but in my eyes, organic versus local, organic all the way. Still support local, absolutely, but organic all the way. Nut milk versus regular milk. It's tough. I will say, I've just started the beginning of this episode by saying how much raw milk I was drinking, but raw is in a category of its own, and you're not going to get raw milk at a coffee shop up the street. I'm going to say it. I'm still going to say go full dairy, but without the pasteurization and without the without all the processing that goes into it. I would also just say ingredients. Ingredients over everything. So if there's an oat milk that only has oat and water, maybe hydrolyzed oats and that's it, no oils, no gums, then I'll do that one. If it's compared to a dairy with, it's fortified with all of these different things, maybe there's a gum, maybe there's a filler, I'm going whole, raw, or ingredient. Just full on ingredient. Let's get into lifestyle and wellness. Oh yeah, this is a good one. And this is interesting because you can do both, but I think at some periods it's one impacts you more than the other. Morning routine versus night routine. Very loaded. If it comes down to which one of these things actually influences your day more, I think if you are operating on the extremes where you have a killer morning routine and everything is great, but at night as soon as you are done scrolling on your phone while watching a movie with your laptop on your lap, you've got 3 screens, then you immediately go to bed and you have had no time to have your eyes away from screens, then I just don't feel like your sleep is going to be that restful. But also, if you are waking up and immediately getting on your screens, then all that good sleep is going to not be not worth it, but you're still going to set your day up for stress. So right now, okay. I know how I'm going to phrase this. Okay. I believe that a morning routine will change your day more, but I think that a night routine will amplify your aesthetics more. Meaning, I think that the night routine is better for winding down, lowering cortisol, and really getting good skincare in. Maybe you're doing face taping, which I've been doing. Maybe you're doing a dry brush, like a lymphatic massage. Maybe you've got a face mask on, whatever your night routine is. But then in the morning, I believe, as far as changing your day and mentally, I think that my routine is you wake up, you don't look at your phone until you've done a couple of things. Like I'll chug my water, a little electrolyte, and whether it's a spiritual reading or stretching, I try and at least do something for 15 or so minutes before even looking at my phone. And when I do look at my phone at first, it's not to look at Instagram. It's just to make sure there's no important text or my boss hasn't texted me or who knows. It's more just a quick take a look at it, but I'm not diving into the phone yet. That's what I think. Sweet or savory breakfast. For me, this is easy. I am savory all day long. Avocado, eggs, veggies, sourdough, salt, even some garlic, onion. Like I like savory. If I'm out and about, there's one place in Charlotte. I want to say Copan is the name of the little French bakery near my office. The yogurt parfait there, it is cracktown. You could put that in front of me every single day of my life, and I would be so pleased and content. There is something about it, the thickness of the vanilla Greek yogurt that they do. The berries have been sitting for long enough that they're pretty soft, not mushy, but just soft, room temperature. And then the granola that they use, my mouth is watering. I'm telling you, I'm not a sweet tooth kind of person. I love a sweet, but I'd always rather have savory. This Greek yogurt bowl, I don't know, maybe I'm going to change my answer. I'm not, because if I'm at home, I'm always going to do something savory, but I think the way to go is if you're out at breakfast with some people, you get one cool, fun, sweet thing for the table. You just do it. Go get the cinnamon roll. along with your avocado toast with poached eggs. But I'm an savory breakfast girl. Absolutely. Ooh, coffee first versus breakfast first. We all know the answer. Do breakfast first before your coffee. But I will tell you what, I had a 6 a.m. workout, so I got up at 5 today. Humble brag. And I wanted just a little bit of coffee. I woke up, I still did my water, I did my reading, and then I still had about half an hour before I needed to leave for this class. It was really close by. Man, I still had to do a little bit of a shot. And I used, here's what I did though. Here's where I made a loophole. Because I technically broke the rule, but I believe that macronutrient wise, I made a wise decision. I said, oh, let me add a third of a cup of raw milk to this and some cinnamon. So it reduced the spike in blood sugar. I only did a single shot instead of a full. And then I did a bunch of frothed milk after a ton of water and salt. So I think that, you know what? That's my caveat. And then I burned it up at this class. I was drenched. We're just going to do a couple more. And these are going to be more wellness trends. The first wellness trend is going to be the trend of either face taping and gua shaing or Botox. Lucky for you, I am not a hypocrite. Now, here's what I'm going to say. If you're in Charleston still, you know Blender Bomb's Helen Hall. She has blown up over so many things, but her Instagram/TikTok is so often about facial massage, gua sha, cupping, and using natural methods to reduce puffiness, swelling, and to overall create a more youthful and glowing look to your skin. She has crushed it. She went from having more hooded eyelids to having these big open bright eyes with a raised eyebrow, chiseled jawline. And to me, I look at her and I'm like, you definitely, and I know Helen, love her, like you for sure, you got a facelift, you got a full snatch job. I don't know what you did, but no, I truly believe that she does such consistent facial manipulation and facial massage that her face is it's different. Her face is so different and it's beautiful. She looks amazing. It looks natural. She looks radiant. I'll be honest with you though. I'm not there. I'm 35% there. I'll do gua sha a few times a week in the shower. I bring some rose oil into the shower. I'll get the gua sha going. I try and do the neck, under the eyes, the eyebrows. Like I'm trying to do all the tutorials, do what they say, get the drainage out of your eyes. I'm a naturally puffy over eye. Like I've got a really heavy hooded eye and puffy under eyes. That's fine. Ooh, I have the cupping situation. I don't do it all the time, but if I'm doing it consistently, yes, I do see a difference. I genuinely do see a difference if I do it in the mornings. I will also say, even if I do this facial manipulation, the cupping, the gua sha, the lymphatic drainage, the massage, even if I do this every single day for weeks on end, which I think most consistently I did it for 2 weeks at a time, I still end up sleeping on my face, or I sleep on my stomach, which I know is horrible for you, and then I sleep with my face smashed against a pillow. So what, am I reversing all of this effort? I don't know. You're going to have, I don't know. I'll have to come back to this one. So what I'm going to say is I do a combination of the two. I still do gua sha. I still do the facial massage in the shower, but I don't do my entire morning routine around it. I spend about 3 minutes in the shower. It's actually just lovely being in the shower. Warm shower, facial massage. It's great. And then I do Botox. I will say though, here's what I'm going to say. I've tried Botox, I've tried Dysport, I've tried Xeomin, I've tried a few different kinds, and I've been doing Botox for years. Not a ton. I really don't, like twice a year. Last time I did it, I did forehead and I wanted my eyebrows to be a little bit higher. Like I just wanted more lift. I wanted more lift. And I've got thick muscles in my forehead. It's like filing cabinets on my forehead if I have a raised, surprised expression. However, what I have noticed is that this past time I went to Spa Mirame, went to see Caroline. It was amazing. And I just did my crow's feet. And I'm pleased with that. I think that this might be the way I go. I think I might just consistently focus on facial massage to raise the eyebrow with a gua sha and with cupping and reducing the hooded eyes. And then I'm just going to stick with facials and with the botox in the eyes, in the crow's feet. That's going to be my happy medium. I think that's where I'm going to settle. This is where, speaking of this is where I'm going to settle, this is where we will end today's episode. I just wanted this to be fun. Life is serious enough. Work is serious enough. And things can be hard enough. We can just have a nice podcast. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Do not forget to head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening. Make sure you hit follow or subscribe. And on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave us 5 stars. Tell us your favorite part of today's episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.